Pratap Bhanu Mehta is one of our leading public intellectuals. You've laid out over the last 13 minutes all that you think has gone wrong with India in the last 5 years. Is there anything you think has gone right with the India story as well? Or do you only see the negatives or comment only on the negatives?
The challenge is the shorter the time you give a speaker, the more the differences are accentuated, right? No, look, I think to put it in context, right? There is still great hope in Indian democracy. There is no question about it, right? I mean, this is why we are having this conversation, okay? But I think it's fair to say that over the last 5-10 years, it's not particular to this government, and that's why I don't think the issue is just confined to this government. The kind of transformative possibilities that we thought possible 10 years ago seem to be out of our grasp, right? India is at the cusp of so many fundamental transitions as we've heard over the last 2 days, right? Ask yourself the question, have we made the transition from crony capitalism to well-regulated markets? The answer is maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, but broadly no, right? Ask yourself the question. Right?
Can I ask you that question, Mr. Mehta?
Sure.
In terms of how assets were allocated earlier, which was completely ad hoc, to how assets are being allocated now through e-tendering and auction, there is a world of difference. See the work that the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is. It's about whether you see a glass half empty or half full.
Sure.
There are multiple steps that we've taken on the issue that you just raised, of moving from completely discretionary allocation of assets to a far more transparent way of doing it, except that glass is still half empty and you don't see the part that's half full.
I think, Rahul, on this one in particular, I think the jury is still out on whether it's still half empty. In fact, as we speak, the IBC code is being undermined, as you know, in very many backhanded ways. The concentration, the fundamental test of corruption, right, is not transactional corruption. The concentration of plutocratic power in the Indian economy has not diminished. That is a fact. Okay? Can you think of any other major economy in the world with this much concentration of plutocratic power by a small group of actors across a very large number of critical sectors? That is what corruption actually is. Okay? We are not tackling that. You wanted good things, a lot of good things. I actually am a big votary of GST. I think the implementation of GST, I think, was flawed, deeply flawed. And to be fair to government, partly that those flaws was a product of the way it was negotiated with a lot of opposition
but look at where we'll be with GST 5 years from now. Look at the road that's being traversed. Look at where we'll get with GST. How can you say that that doesn't make India a more open, more transparent economy?
No. Obviously, look, India is still a functioning democracy. India is still growing at 6.6% in the later quarters. Of course, things are functioning, right? I think the question is not, right, whether some things have, I mean, that's the low expectation bar you're setting, right? The question is whether given the mandate this government had and the majority it had, whether we lost the opportunity for creating fundamental transformations that would produce growth and jobs.